What's up, y'all? I'm back. Wanted to get into not socialism, the different isms that I was talking about, and how we basically been governed, or how our environment is basically have these different isms. And this just to give a clearer insight on what we exist in and what we go through. Because it's just like with anything, any word in dictionary. So many words and so many different descriptions of shit. It's like, damn, I didn't know it had a word for that. Or I didn't know it had a meaning for that. And as you kind of go through some of these things, you start to realize, yeah, all right, this is some shit that's injustice or whatever. So we'll just kind of get through some of these things. But, let me see. This was a little course um, on isms and stuff like that I found. Let me see. I want to read. It was just a small passage from here. Let me see where we. Also, it's a student investigate how adding a suffix ism to words can alter their meaning, and how popular. Okay, it was something else. Where was it? I could have swore it was on here, bro. That always happened where when I started making the video, I could not find exactly what I was looking for. Maybe it was this word morphology. It was something I wanted to look up. Hold on. No, it wasn't that. Yeah, I'm not really sure what it was, but let's just get right to socialism. Or the first thing that's up here: a political theory advocating state ownership of industry. That's some shit that I'm really not concerned about. Yes, examples of that, but I don't care about that shit. Communism. I'm just gonna be reading shit, just going through, picking some of the ones that make sense to me, or to what I'm referring to. A theory favoring collectivism in the classless society. I don't really have that, but I was gonna make a joke and say we do. Absolutism. I would say with absolutism, the doctrine of a being that is without restriction. That's our government for sure. Our judicial system for sure. No, there's no real restriction on how they what they can and cannot do. They basically can go against all your constitutional rights, and you really have no voice or power or authority to stand up for yourself. So not only that, corporations do that too. Even here in Texas, like it's like a work first, or employment first of the employer or whatever. So if they want to just fire you, basically they can, and they don't have to really justify it by any means. And that's just how I think government we work in. I think that's just how the workforce in Texas is set up. I don't think that's in every state, but even then, a lot of the times the system they have set up so that these things could be like, so certain managers or people can be checked. They don't really be caring. For instance, when I got fired at Chili's, I called corporate, talked to them, everything, and hey, all they did was wrote down my complaint, and that was about it. They was basically said they're gonna still go through with everything, even though it was completely fucked up and everything. And that happened to the other 3 or 4 people that I worked with. They ended up losing their jobs and stuff too. But yeah, so even when they do have certain things set up, like the judicial system has certain checks and balances, but even then, that's just like a facade, or basically a facade on to make you feel comfortable with how things are set up, really against you, but how things are naturally just set up. You be like, okay, well, I can be comfortable with this because they have to answer to somebody. But even then, the real people they have to answer to is us, and since we don't know our power, since we so ignorant and think they have all the guidance and power, um, they really don't have anybody to check them, so they can really do anything they want. But yeah, like I said, corporations, banks, they move with absolutism for the most part. But yeah, even with the government, we seen with this bailout, they didn't have to ask nobody. They didn't have to ask the American people, "Are we okay with this bailout?" They just did it. And the funniest thing, we don't get none of it. Like for the most part, it's all going to corporations. The second bailout in a row going to corporations, and American people still just, can you help us? Any day now. Well, yeah, absolutism. That's a big thing that we move in. Let's see, autocracy. Auto. I'm gonna be slaughtering a lot of words, but the whole human history proves it by nature. In engenders absolutism. Let's look up engenders. I'm like I know shit. But damn, so I don't know a lot of these words. Cause or giving rise to feeling or situation or condition. So natural engender absolute. Well, I guess let's look up autocracy real quick, and then I'll go what I say. The system of government by one person with absolute power. I mean, most of our leaders and stuff like that. Yeah, of course they moved out of auto. Let me see how they pronounce this word.
Autocracy.
Autocracy. So most of our leaders of the masses have always moved out of that way because the masses has mostly been ignorant. But even past then, besides nature, the human race has been moving through absolutism because we haven't really been checked by anything, not by really any morals, not by any foundations or standards besides nature when it humble us with certain natural disasters and stuff like that. But besides that, we pretty much don't learn our lessons on anything. But let's move on. No, I can stay stuck on one thing forever. Altruism, the quality of unselfish concerns for the welfare of others. Well, coronavirus shows that we didn't have that or much of that. Yeah, it's people out here that does move in that capacity, but for the most part, we can see that just how we're raised. Like I talk about the cultures and the cultures and the different things that shape us. We don't have that selflessness for the most part. We don't care for other people. Yeah, we act like it, and like it's that same fake ass checks and balances. Like we act like it, we put on this facade, but at the end of the day, like even when we check on the news, they always talk about when you watch the news, like when you see somebody going through some bullshit, the only reason you really care is because you like, I'm glad that wasn't me on some shit. So usually, even when you're caring about somebody, it's in the capacity of like, if I help this person, this shit won't happen to me, or whatever, things like that. Usually, most of the time when we even have empathy for somebody else is because we're thinking of ourselves in those shoes, and that's not really even caring about them in that situation. We're just thinking about how if we was in that situation, what we would do or want for somebody to do for us, which is, I ain't gonna say that's not empathy or sympathy, but you can see how that's moving out of ego and not just moving out of that person's situation. Because just say if you ever feel like you never could be in that situation, or never mind that, but it could be moved out of selfishness. And I will correlate this to when you, like, if somebody gives you gifts and stuff like that, and the person that gives you that gift is just looking for a thanks or looking for something in return. What was I saying? That selfishness. And then how people move. How people move. Oh. Yeah, I mean, doing stuff out of empathy, and then when you see somebody in a certain situation, yeah, I guess you kind of can't really correlate it. I think I can, but it's not really hitting home no more. But because it's like when you give a person gifts and stuff, like you really only doing it to receive something back. You only doing it to, like, hopefully that you get a gift in return, or either that value, or even better, depending on who you're giving that gift to. So that same aspect, when you're doing that, it's like you're trying to do it out of your karma. You're not doing it out of just to take care of that person. And most people move like that. They hold the door and be like, "Hey, look, God, look at me holding the door open for women," or "Hey, God, look at me helping this person. Can I get into heaven now?" or shit like that. So even when we're moving out of selfishness, it's still out of selfishness, if you ask me. But yeah, there will be examples of people moving through altruism. Let's move on. I'm gonna have to type this word in because I am not about to slaughter it. I haven't been able to sleep, y'all, at all, bro. Like, I'll just be sleeping. I mean, it's still sleeping. I sleep for 4 hours, wake up, sleep for another 2 or 3, 4 hours, and that's how I've been sleeping. I guess it's just being home all day. I just been catnapping. I haven't really just been asleep for like a long period of time. So this is like I'm more than well rested at this point, just being at home. But let's see how you asceticism. Asceticism. Let's say it again. Asceticism. Okay, that's the tongue twister. Severe self-discipline and avoidance of all forms of indulgence, typically for religious reasons. There's nothing wrong with that in a sense. I guess the word severe, like, that's the same word? Because we got a different definition. The doctrine of reunification of worldly pleasures. Asceticism. I just have to say it again. I guess it is. The word, it has a different definition, but the sentence is basically the same. But yeah, people practice that. People practice that hard. I give their society that, but I don't even give that to society. I just give that to when you in the survival mode. It goes to, I was just watching this with storytellers. They do a real good job of breaking down films and some of the deeper meanings in the films. But they was talking about how what's his name, Forrest Gump, the lack of not him being slow or anything, but him being not aware of society pressures and things like that, had him have a lack of ego. So him having that lack of ego, he was able to focus in on certain tasks and things like that, like ping pong or running, and he could focus in real well because he didn't have these different thoughts that's going on outside of his head. So a lot of times you see that with certain people when they're in that survival mode and trying to get out, they're gonna work a lot. They're gonna work real hard as far as like athletics. See that in the black community, we work so hard in athletics, and even in the schools, people go so hard in the school just because they feel like that's gonna be their way out. And so when I say that people follow this, have that asceticism or move with that ism, it's usually due in spite of this society. Like, I don't think this society naturally raises that, this culture naturally raises that out of people. I think it's in spite of me not wanting to die and me not wanting to be in this same situation for a long amount of time, or forever in a sense. And I know that for myself and my friends, we always talk about looking around in certain workplaces or warehouses and like, bro, I could not be these people that's in here for 20, 30 years or switching from jobs 20, 30 years. Like, I want to be firm and stable in my own shit. But and that's, like I said, that's in spite of. But certain religions do preach that and make that come out. Bro, where you working at, man? Can I come work with you, bro? Y'all hiring? Damn, niggas still working. But there's a lot of cars still out there. This shit crazy. Oh, word out is they're gonna make us still pay rent on the first, so that shit gonna be late, but that ain't nothing new. Oh, shit gonna be late, but that ain't nothing new. I've been on time the past couple months, but they gonna miss it. Hey, it ain't nothing I ain't used to, I ain't been through. The despotism, I think that's how you say that, a form of government in which the ruler is unconstrained. henceforth the free government all over henceforward the free government all over the world lay crushed beneath the military despotism of Rome. I'm probably saying that word wrong. I don't need to. If I say it wrong, well. But yeah, I mean, with our government now, bro, people are in. With our military presence now, people are in fear. Rome is just the new Great Britain. America is just the new Great Britain, and Great Britain is just the new Rome, and Rome is just the new whatever other empire you wanna. I was gonna say Greece, but that's wrong. But Egyptian empire, or any other empire outside of that, from the pharaohs and all that shit. So I mean, it's many different empires that had a military or religions that had such a force as far as crusades and things like that, where that shit went unchecked because they didn't have a proper checks and balance. And that's what it seems with this world. Everything's just unbalanced, and usually it's one-sided so much that the other side don't really even have a way to keep it in check. And it's always usually that David and Goliath, that Luke Skywalker and Death Star ratio, where it's a big margin of this thing has so much power and I have so little power. But at the end of the day, if it's so big, it's gonna have nooks and crannies that my little stuff can get in and eventually break down and rip apart. And that's many different scenarios in that I could talk about. From, I think, in Guardians of the Galaxy, they had Groot was a baby Groot. The second one, baby Groot, went inside like the bomb or went inside of something and had to dismantle it because he was so little he was able to do it or something like that. But you see it all the time where like a little rat or something, or in a cartoon, it'll go inside the mainframe and destroy it from the inside. Or like, just for instance, it wasn't something small, but he was small compared to the damn thing in the first Incredibles. The fighting that robot at the end, he had to basically go inside, and the thing started attacking itself basically because it was inside of it and it didn't know how to get it out. So yeah, it's ways and benefits when these things are bigger, and I guess that 1%, even if it's that 99 versus the 1%, that 1% will always have a way to check it ultimately. But it's not easy. I'll say that. And like I said, it basically, that 99% go unchecked until that 1% finally can dismantle it. And that 1% doesn't just do that initially, especially with whatever. It's not always 1%. Sometimes it's 20% that able to rebel or whatever. It ain't always 99 versus the 1%. But what's another thing I wanted to say with that? Yeah, but most religions, most governments go unchecked. Most powers that be go unchecked, from banks and corporations and all these different things. They're able to monopolize and do so many different things, especially if they're operating in the right ways, in the sense of they're following, paying taxes, or moving into the left wing or right wing, whatever. Just depending on just depending who got the power, they'll be all right for the most part. As far as not getting checked. But the reason I say that, just like, it's certain people that's dirty as hell, and then they finally pull out that dirt on them because it's just, whatever. But as long as you playing inside of that game, they're not gonna check you until it's, like I said, they time to stop using you or whatever. Consumerism. I'm already at 18 minutes. This shit goes so fast, bro. Consumerism, the theory that's increasing used goods is beneficial. The glittering shopping mall with an indoor ice skating ring stands and totem of American-style consumerism. The theory that increasing use of goods is beneficial. And I mean, I guess this is based on the more goods, the better, I guess. Capitalism, basically. But I can't say consumerism is bad or good. Can argue that it's definitely a distraction, and we focus on the consumerism more than actual like I said, like everything being off balance. We focus on the consumerism more than we focus on the actual individual person and the welfare of the person. And we're more about the product and how the consumer can be shaped to buy this product. So you're only really worried about how the only reason you worry about the consumer is to see how you can manipulate them to sell your product or buy in on your product or whatever you're selling. So yeah, like I said, it's another thing when it goes into consumerism. Could be good when you think about it. It's all about the consumer. It's all about the people that's buying our product. Yeah, it should be about that, but it's usually in spite of the consumer. It's usually like I said, with the other I think was it aestheticism. It's the same thing with that. It's usually to spite them or whatever, but or in spite. But let's move on. We got a lot. Oh, I don't think we got a lot, but I have a lot to get out. It's probably only like it like only like 10 more, 15 more. But knowing that, that's gonna be another 2 hours. Knowing me, egoism, the theory of self-interest, is the basis of morality. Consequently, as if the way of human nature, her egoism, is exasperated and becomes more firmly concentrated upon her own welfare. And yeah, once again, us having survived, us being indoctrinated with certain ideas of, man, egoism goes deep from feminism to the other side with whatever the manism shit. And over defending that and all these different things in the sense of for my survival and you get caught up in, like I said, egoism. Like feminism, like you say, if they are real feminists, they'll be in a sense of trying to be compatible with the male and try to find how it can work with the male. But most of the time with feminism and them trying to survive is usually in spite of the male. Same with male rhetoric from the past. I'm not gonna say male rhetoric as far as now because I'm not under the male. I'm not influenced by the males that's in charge or have power. Nor do I have power, like as far as like society and things like that. So I'm not gonna sit up here and say the male. How the male moves now is the same as how they used to move in the 80s or any time in the 1900s or 1700s. Like it's just a big difference. But even in how they used to go against the woman, it's like, bro, that's not in the benefit of you. Same with I talk about black and white, all these different arguments that can make you feel like you're justified, especially from tribalism, nationalism. At the end of the day, somebody was like, bro, why do I have a nation? Why am I a part of this nation when I'm the Q Reeves? He was saying, why do I have a nation? Why do I have to be a part of a nation when I'm an earthling? When I'm just indigenous to this world? Like, this is my world. Why am I subjugated to a certain part of it? Like, that's a scam. That's a game. And then we get so caught up in hey, this is my piece of land, and I defend this, and you start to realize that you just basically claiming you're part of the prison or you're part of the just being facetious, but you basically claiming like when they talk about Bloods and Crips, you claiming a block that you don't even own or don't even have investments in or don't even have any residuals on that block that you're protecting. It's the same thing with nationalism. It's this most likely the same thing with the tribes that you're following, that you rep this shit, but at the end of the day, they're just using your energy, your fandom and things like that to keep their shit going, keep their shit boosted, keep their shit flowing. But at the end of the day, you could be discarded, or they won't keep you in mind. For instance, with sports teams, if Bill O'Brien and the Texans kept us in mind, they would never trade DeAndre Hopkins. They would never trade a lot of the players that become team players. But I get it. If it's a business, you got to move. You got to make moves, certain moves earlier than a fan would like moves to be done. But in the case of the Texans, that was complete idiocracy. But with Bill O'Brien, he does that. I mean, Bill Belichick, he does that all the time, where he'll trade somebody or move somebody like Vince Wilfork, even when they're still good, but a little before it's too late. And as a fan, you wouldn't accept that or wouldn't really necessarily like that. But in that same thing, most of the time with any corporation or any tribalism or any nationalism, usually the fan is at the lowest part of the totem pole, and when it comes to power, even though the fan is what's giving that whole totem pole power, because at the end of the day, the first will be last, and the bottom is the foundation, but they treat the bottom like shit. That's when I say the actual power, you have all the power, but our ignorance and us not really knowing we have no power. So in this reality, in this status quo of now, and how we're moving, we move powerless. That's what I'm saying. But overall, the big picture, of course, we have the power. We are immune, and all these other different things that I say. But yeah, egoism, like I said, we take up different battles and different things because we think that's going to help our survival out more or help us adapt more. But sometimes those things, not always, but sometimes those things can be a detriment, especially when you basically putting yourself in a box, and that box is not going to guarantee your survival any more than being outside of the box, because at the end of the day, it's still the matrix, inside or outside of this box, in the sense of these certain paradigms and realms you exist in. But when you categorize yourself, when you box yourself in, you're able to be manipulated easily, because you basically this archetype that they be like, oh, like if you're gothic, oh well, we know the dark energy controls how gothic people move. So you're able to be moved like that, or easily just swayed, because they basically got you boxed in or shaped out or figured out. Like when you literally figured out, they figured you out because you're not complex enough. Like, or for some people, they can exist in many different boxes, and it's hard to box somebody in that sense. But for the most part, usually we only exist in probably one or two boxes, and usually like that's just how we are, because most people are not moguls. Nowadays, people are moving towards the mogul energy, and people have multiple caps on, but just from the back in the day, a musician would be only just a musician. An athlete would just be an athlete. A preacher would just be a preacher. A worker would just be a worker, or whatever. But let's keep going. But just saying, back in the day, it was easier to box people in. Now, it's like you can have so many different foundations you can exist on, in a sense of solid foundations as well. That it's hard to categorize you or manipulate you or put you into a certain fear tactic. Just for instance, like can't necessarily make it correlate to anything that I guess I can't really make it correlate fully, but just like with little stuff like the with Popeyes and the chicken sandwich and stuff like that. That's them realizing, all right, this is how gullible these people are. This how like is, and the Popeye shit, bro, is just another reflection of the Corona shit. Cause just that, like I said, bro, we be in full lines, bro, flocking and damn near panic mode over shit that's like we consider consumerism. From as far as holidays, as far as these little deals and specials or little things that come out that's trendy, and then versus now it's like, oh, it's not the same, and we should be nervous and scared. But like niggas was, like I said, so it's easy to kind of categorize certain people. I'm not gonna sit up here and say that that categorize all people, because I'm sure it's different types of people that ate the chicken, but they definitely seen who could be manipulated with that shit. And that's with capitalism and consumerism, period, and with marketing and different things like that, period. They always trying different things out. But let's keep going. Imperialism, the doctrine that knowledge derives from experience. There's nothing wrong with that. But it goes both ways. You don't have to have experience to have knowledge. It's kind of weird, but for example, I mean, I could share I guess they still have an experience, so I can share my experience to somebody, and then they can learn from that knowledge, but that's still having an experience. It just wouldn't be something they went through. So yeah, I guess that's, I can agree with that. Knowledge arises from experience, but that's not something that, even if it's labeled, even if it could be worded a little better, it doesn't matter. Fatalism. Predetermined.
Fatalism.
Okay, I just make sure I said it right. Um, it's things that can argue that a lot of things are fatalism in this world, as far or in this society, as far as some what you would call conspiracy theories, like they was planning 9/11. Just literally, we just watching Panic talk about in Eileen Bay. They was just talking about how they planned that the 9/11 buildings was gonna fall before they even put them up. They knew that they were gonna bring them down as a form of magic in how they manipulate things. But a lot of things be kind of predestined for me. But like I said, that's not something we need to stay on. A doctrine that advocates equal rights for women, and like I said, it's nothing wrong with this, but how it's being done is being trashed, because usually it's taking down the other side. But what's fair and what for? First of all, equal rights is, I already know that I'm not with the equal rights, because it's compatible rights. There's no such thing as equal in any shape and form, as far as man and woman, black and white. Just period. Black is this color, white is this color. It has to have its ways you treat black. It has to has the ways you treat white. You just can't put, like I said, we be trying to do one patch treatment, that one shoe fit all, one treatment fit all. It's like, no, we need not inequality, or it's something with an EQ. It's not equal. It's not equality, but it's another word. Where it's basically depending on circumstances, this is how you help that person. And like I said, white people or black people or women, male and woman, you can't say we're gonna treat women like this because we treat males like that. That wouldn't be fair to women, because how males move and how males operate, they may be able to handle, they may be tolerating it, or they may even like their way of moving, versus a woman will not like their way of moving. So saying equal doesn't really help y'all out. But even towards when I say it's not right, it's usually the woman in feminism is talking about how ain't shit men are, instead of lifting them up, just like how you trying to lift the woman up, because feminism cannot thrive without the male principle, period. The male principle cannot exist without the female principle, period. So knowing that, that's when I kind of talk about feminism getting it bad, because they just, it's like I said, I feel you in the sense of, yeah, men have treated you shitty for ages, but it's not even men, it's the power paradigm that's treated you like shit. And like I said, men today not a part of that power paradigm, especially the men that most of y'all deal with. So even then, it's like you hate us, but you're really hating the men that's in power, which I hate as well, because they treat us like shit. They treat the males like slaves and stuff like that, and have been treating us like slaves or warriors, where we can go fight their wars and shit like that, or the industrial workers, where we can take the poison and build their industries up. So they treat us like shit too. They also treat black people like shit. They also treat other races like shit. So it's like I said, it's not necessarily about pointing out how men was trash, because even if men was trash, it came from the higher ups, and that's who you need to be focusing on, and not really trying to bring down men. You need to be bringing down the past paradigms of the power structure that didn't keep you in mind, and shit, that's with everything. They didn't keep us in mind. But like I said, the same with the racism battle and how blacks and whites are distracted and trying to figure out how to fix that, when they should just drop the shit at the end of the day. The same thing with the male and woman principle. We've been having these same arguments since Adam and Eve. And pulling down and all this, just the battle continues. And trust me, when women were up at certain points, like right now, this is mostly a women's society. I ain't gonna say I got all the power, because this society is an illusion. But even then, women have more power than the average man. Now, there are men that has more power than the average woman, but the average woman has more power. The only reason why is because they treat y'all, like I said, with the consumerism, and it's to spite y'all, and they not really caring about y'all, so, but they lift y'all up. Same with big women or any other gays and things like that. They're only lifting y'all up because they know y'all are consumers, and y'all are the new fresh consumers that's into all the new trends. So even with the gay rights and stuff like that, and these corporations pushing the gay agenda, and these artists pushing certain gay agendas, they don't give a fuck about the gay movement, even if they are so-called gay or not gay. They don't, like, they care about themselves, and they're moving for themselves with the egoism shit again. And at the end of the day, once they're done with that agenda, they're going to discard you and move on to the next thing. period. Same from if you look at the LGBTQ and transgender, you can see them sometimes down in the actual natural woman. And it's like, wait, women be on the same, women be supporting LGBTQ, and it's like, yeah, they was all cool and shit till they started pushing their agenda even more, and they was like, yeah, we don't really need women no more. But why was I saying that? Yeah, even then, they only reason women and gay people are at the top of society is because of materialism and consumerism at this point, and men don't really buy into certain things like that. Yes, we do, but it's usually like certain big purchases over, like we may buy a car and that car will last us 5-6 years, depending on how much money we got, till we buy another nice car or something like that. But usually our purchases are not as on a daily. We're not shopping and going shopping on a daily. We just don't even like doing shit like that. But knowing, like I said, they know women move like that. They know gay people kind of move like that. So they manipulate them and they keep them on the top of society and they put them in leadership roles. So men can stay frustrated and having to deal with them and all these other different things. But yeah. And I'm not saying women can't lead or gay people can't lead, but I'm just saying in the sense of if these people are about consumerism and about even then, bro, it's the false paradigm, bro. It's a false paradigm. I ain't gonna get into who should have power and things like that. But in this society, it's bullshit. And I just know that the separation and the power they give to gay people and always making them seem logical and shit like that, they take that and move like that in society and in jobs and shit where they feel like usually their way of moving is right just because, like I said, they always look at gays as being logical for some reason in almost any archetype that you see in movies and things like that. And then goes to the woman principle too. Usually the women are always mostly right, but over the men, and the men is usually always seen as irrational, and that's even more and more to in this day and age. It probably used to be the opposite back then, but like I said, all that, and then women in turn move like that and treat men like they don't know shit, and treat men like their emotions don't matter, treat men with all these different things. So now we're in these workplaces and society, the gays and women think like that towards men. And even towards black men, it's even worse. You got even you're dumb added on top of that, or you're just a sexual entity, or you're whatever. So now you have these bosses and managers, and they treat you like how these paradigms are, or how these certain archetypes are, or what's the word? Not peer pressure, but how they view somebody, but it's not necessarily right. Stereotypes. They treat you like the stereotypes that most people play into, and I might look that up next. But yeah, man, these Hispanics going to work, boy. I need to figure out a job. Them boys still working. Not supposed to be working. Maybe they work. That's why I said I'm getting me a card, bro. I'm getting me a little tweet card. If this world's still up. We'll see. Hinduism. Hedonism, the ethical system that values the pursuit of pleasure. We move like that. We definitely move like that. We move out of our pleasures. We move out of our, I can't say animalistic natures because pleasure is not always animalistic, but most of them are in the sense of how, like I said, the way our culture raises us up. They usually are animalistic or low instinctual things that we're moving out of in the sense of pleasure, as far as like unhealthy foods or unhealthy sex practices or whatever different things. But what was I going to say with the pleasures not being necessarily, but yeah, for instance, like I was just thinking about this with the how we we'll just talk, I ain't even going to get into this because it don't matter, or it does matter as far as sexual education, but I was just talking about how women was basically blaming men for them not being wet, and if a man come fast like 30 seconds, that's a whole nother story. But like if you having sex 10, 20, 30 minutes and you're not able to come, that usually falls on a woman. Same if a man cannot get back erect after he come, like it's usually due to your mental perspective, and it don't just happen, or you can't just flip the switch all the time. It's a process. But saying that the mental pleasures, as far as sex, like with people, let me slow down. There's certain people that have that shit funny. It's certain people that have mental how do you say, they get stimulated through intellect. They get stimulated through information. So even in their partner, like information turns them on, like knowing more about their person, or their person bringing more, like just being with that person, it brings more out of you, and that's informing you as well, or it's you finding out more about them. Just that information process is always happening. That turns people on more than just actually having a body and having fat ass and fake titties or whatever the fuck. So the reason I just said with the wetness and stuff, like everybody gets mentally or sexually stimulated differently, and usually it comes from your own mental attractions, which is your own personal fetishes or whatever. But just saying that, like I said, we're it's nothing wrong to chase your pleasures, but when your pleasures are usually going against you in the sense of consumerism or materialism, that's when it's a problem, and that's how they kind of get us. They advertise to us 24/7. They program our mind with so many different bad habits to where the pleasures that we chase usually are in a parasitic form against our own nature, from the things we eat, like I said, from the fast food. Oh, it's quick and easy, instead of actually making a home cooked meal that's from the soul, from the spirit. You tend it after, you care for it, made with love, made with all these different things. Like I said, we was in different cultures. That's how to move. But everything quick, everything got to be on the go. We don't have no real times for ourselves, even from the things we put in our body, which is fucking. When you really think about it, it's crazy. But it's not crazy now because we're in this world, we're living it. Like this is how we are. It's not crazy because that's the norm. But when you think about it in a rational form or a godly mind or a holistic mind, you like, bro, how could we allow these things to happen? But it's due to our ignorance. Like I said, we start chasing things, and we're first indoctrinated, and we're naturally ignorant, just being born here, and then they keep us ignorant even in that phase of when we're trying to seek and search. So once we through out of that seek and search phase, we still have ignorance, and now we're set into ignorance, and it's no getting out of that once we're in that way, in that phase. And that's usually when you're past 21 or a little bit, probably 25, 30, really probably 30s and on, just depending on where you're at in your but in this society, a lot of people get stuck in their ways right after high school or in high school, sometimes even middle school. They can find ways to get set in already. And yeah, some people don't change from their middle school ways. Honestly, like literally the same person I knew you as in middle school, you like that now. And they probably in jail, or probably still a hoe, or probably got a bunch of kids same with high school. Some people don't. Some people change. And sometimes it's not bad. Some people, like that nigga that was so called in football and basketball in middle school and elementary, yep, they get in the league now. So it don't always translate to bad, but I'm just saying the sense of why was I even, I'm looking at the word Hinduism. I forgot why I was even saying that shit. That threw me off. But yeah, just due to our ignorance and things like that, we usually don't chase decent pleasures. Like I said, for me, my number one pleasure is this. Like I said, the same for sexuality. It's different for everybody. What stimulates you, what turns you on, what gets you going, what keeps you going, what keeps your passion and your flame, sexual flame, internal, spiritual, mental, body flames, all these different flames, as far as chakras or whatever the hell you want to call it, or worlds that we have. Why did I say that? Keeping them lit. Pleasures, ignorance. Fuck, bro. I hate when I do this shit, bro. It's just so annoying. I guess it's not so annoying because it's just a part of the genes and putting shit together. But these bridges, bro, once I build these bridges, these shit ain't gonna happen. I ain't gonna lose too many connections. Fuck, man. Say hello to Cat. You always want to say hi. Hey, Carrie. Trash pleasures. Oh yeah, with somebody like me, my knowledge is what pleases me. Growing wisdom is what pleases me. That's what sharpens my iron. That's what gets me going. That's what gets me up. Is information, knowledge, wisdom, and sometimes laughter. For the most part, laughter is a big thing too that keeps me going. Music, but it's usually music that has some type of knowledge into it, or resiliency, or some form of like just basically resiliency, like I said, or some type of wisdom or knowledge. and that's my pleasures. But that's something I learned through time. For some people, their pleasures is jacking off every day and buying different porn shit. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if you love yourself. But I'm just saying that there's many pleasures that we get lost into, and with those boxes and those, like I said, the different boxes that we end up being in and allowing ourselves to get shaped by. Now we can be consumed by, literally as a consumer, but we're getting consumed. They call us the consumer, but we're literally the ones getting consumed as far as our energy and putting in. Gotta think, bro, nigga, I work, say if I get $10, $13 an hour, I may make $80 a day, and I worked all fucking day, but in like 1 hour or like 2 seconds, I can literally spend all of that money that I made in a day. A day's worth of work could be spent in like two hours. And in this type of world, like, that's why you the one that's being consumed. You putting all this work in, days worth of work, and then it's gone in a matter of seconds because of your work is not valued, obviously. And then when you got to go buy some shit, the amount of work you put in, the money you got back from is really only so much. And when you buy the shit now, that's really it. And that's how you know you being consumed, because it's like, damn, all this energy I'm putting into the world, and the shit, money just be going that quick. And that's how you just know you're just being consumed and consumed and consumed. And when they call us the consumers, because we're consuming their products, but in turn, they're consuming our money, our energy that we work so hard for. So yeah, they can call us the consumer, because who gives a fuck about this little product they created? I mean, sometimes the product is beneficial to you. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it wrong. But a lot of the time, like I said, in this culture, it's usually against you. Especially, like I said, with fast food, with the selling of materialism, as far as these phones, as far as it's a new car every year. Like, bro, it shouldn't be a new car every year, bro. Like, it shouldn't be a new phone every year, bro. Like, if you was building them to your optimum peak, like, you wouldn't see another boom for another 3-4 years. Like, they don't make PlayStations every year, bro, because if they did, it'd be like, damn, nigga, it's the same exact shit. Like, there's no new technology being found, because you build it too fast. So the fact that these niggas keep building and building on top of shit, and even when you see certain shit that's valuable don't be built that fast, like, or not valuable, but with technology, because you can't just keep building a PlayStation 5 and then have the same 32 gigabytes, or it's like, nah, that ain't gonna work. You gotta be able to put different processors and different things in there. And I guess for phones, you could say little camera features and things like that, but overall, bro, it's the same product. Same with like games and stuff like that. They just be making the same product every year, and that's a scam. But like I said, all this over-consumerism of materialism, over-consuming of materialism, like I said, with the shit being new shit every day, new trends every day to follow. Most of the time, those trends are going against you, especially when I say, like I said, your work that you put in life is not being valued, so you're not really making money. And if you buying this shit, like the different consumer things, that's usually going against your survival in the long run. Like, yeah, you may be temporarily happy, but at the end of the day, you're still stuck in that certain box or situation, and that's the most ultimate detrimental thing, because that slowly starts to drain you, bro. But let's move on. I'm already at 48 minutes. Humanism, doctrine promoting the welfare of mankind. No, sir. I don't even need to stay on that. Do y'all need? I don't even need to stay on that. Everything's canceristic from. Look, I got my shit up today. I got the screen share up. I'm gonna have my shit side by side, hopefully. Pathogens. Cause I'm tired of saying shit. I want niggas to see it. I don't want no excuses. Or no, I'm not spell shit, y'all. Don't judge my spelling. I be guessing, really, honestly. I don't be caring. Pathogen cancers. Let's see. Is it pathogens or carcinogens? Let me see, man. That's not how you spell it, but oh well. Let's go back, bro. Fuck it. Oh, it's carcinogenics. That's why I was saying it wrong. I was basically spelling pathogens with carcinogens. What the fuck? How you say that shit? Is that it? Okay, here we go, yo. It's carcinogens. Alright. What cancers does carcinogen cause? Arsenic compounds. Let's go to this first, so you know what carcinogens are first and what they cause, and then we'll go to what's in carcinogens. Any substance, carcinogens is any substance with, don't know what that word is, radionuclide, radiation, carcinogenesis, the form of cancer that promotes carcinogens is the form of cancer. This may be due to damage in the genome. Let's see, I'm trying to look up, like I said, whatever. And cigarettes. I'm trying to look up the different diseases it causes. Okay, lung carcinogens. They got arsenic. That's the carcinogen. It's in lung and skin. Let me see. I guess all this lung, leukemia, prostate. Oh, there we go. Leukemia, lymph nodes, gastro, all these different cancers, skin cancer, all these different cancers. All right. I ain't looked this shit up in a minute, so I'm just kind of spitballing as far as. I've seen cosmetics, but I want to kind of get a big list. But you already see right here, Johnson & Johnson, hot dogs, Lysol, whatever. There's many different things, as well as, let's see. Let's just put up a list of carcinogen products. Let's see what they say. Let me just go back to that cosmetic one I seen. Let's see what this says. Picasso. If not, I'm gonna look up just household products that's cancerous. Bro, that fucking song is stuck in my head. My fucking girlfriend keep listening to it. You know I got that yummy, yummy. Tell me that song. They just be making hooks, bro. Common carcinogens. There we go, bro. Somebody gonna have this shit. You know, I got that yummy. Ugh. Come on, bro. Laundry detergent, facial moisturizers, air fresheners, cleaning products, dryer sheets. And the reason you'd be like, well, cleaning products is they ain't like I'm drinking this shit, but your skin naturally absorbs everything that touches it. It may not soak up all of it, but it definitely absorbs a lot of the compounds and different things that the chemicals and stuff that touch our body. And they know that. from the hairsprays and different things they put on your head. As far as what's that shit that we used to use for black people? Not Nair, but that other shit that straighten it. That shit like fuck with your pineal gland and it basically be frying your brain. Cleaning products, dryer sheets, just the shit being on your clothes is enough. Sweat, anything like that. Now that shit going into your skin. Pesticides, obviously. But pesticides on everything. Everything and everybody, even for the natural people. So when it comes to even with the people that's what you call vegans and shit, you got cancer and shit too. You ain't getting rid of everything. That's why I say it start when I realize it's mind over matter. That's when I start. All right, I'm stopping at chicken and beef and shit. Because at the end of the day, I ain't gonna be eating shit if I keep researching shit. And I'm probably gonna end up being that way anyways. Because that's just what the true self-efficient people are. If you want to really be a guy, you just gonna be. You gonna literally, bro. Your energy gonna be. You gonna be like a plant. You gonna have enough energy, bro. And that's how we can be, bro. That's literally how we can be. We can just go outside, collect sunlight, and that be enough energy. Go outside and collect enough breath, and that be enough energy. And that's in this realm, and as being a plant. But even then, that's because you'll still need something outside of you in a sense. But even then, bro, you could just keep feeding yourself, bro. And our body do that anyways. Our body do that anyways. We eat, we digest shit, and then the little things inside of us eat off what we feed it. But imagine if we was able to just go off just the energy that we have inside of us, like that flame that just kept burning. But I could be wrong, I could be right, who knows? But I know plants, like I said, they damn sure don't have to really just eat shit. They just drink water for the most part, and we damn sure can be like that. Pet collars, food dye, everything got food dye. But like I said, almost everything we touch, bro, has some form of cancer. And like I said, we naturally immune when you're in your powerful state. But as you keep getting drained, as you keep getting your ass beat the fuck up, these things start to drain you. Facial moisturizers, moisture colognes, nail polish, what else? Incense. So many things, bro. Let's see. I'm gonna go to one more website and I'm done with that. This just explaining humanism and how humanism. Nah, we don't move like that. Cause, bro, trust me, if I'm able to research this shit, the FDA and all that shit knew that when they let these people put out certain products. Innocent looking things in your home. And, bro, it's the website, the internet getting a lot more deceptive as far as them hiding certain things and putting certain things away. Or even, like, one thing I've been noticing, like, they name a lot of movies after occult things or, like, off of, like, certain things that you'll look up, like Mandela and stuff like that. Like Mandela Effect, they'll make a movie off of it. So everything, when you look up that name, literally everything from the movie pop up. Like, and nothing else besides that. Like, none of the information is previous to that. They literally, and that's like the algorithm. So you gotta go through 100 fucking pages before you can finally find some shit that was there before the shit that started trending, like a movie or some item that got a new item name that's named after some old shit. Like, I was just looking up some shit called Hebos. Like, they used to call Hebrews Hebos, and then Hebos turned to Negroes, and I was trying to explain that to somebody on Twitter, but I couldn't find no pictures of it. And I know I used to have pictures of this shit, and it's in the Revenant and shit like that, but when you look up Hebos, it's nothing but fucking dresses and shit. And it's like, bro, it's no way to differentiate or say, no, I'm not looking for the most trendiest thing. And that's with algorithm, bro, they're gonna always put the most trendy or the most mainstream shit up first, because that's what they want to get the most views, obviously. But it's like it's a lot of different techniques that I'm starting to notice with the internet, because it's like you can't just delete shit. So the next thing you can do is just hide it. What's up? Hold on, don't put no house curtain on here, nigga. I'm trying to be credible. Cancerous thing, 15 looking things in your household that's cancerous. And my God, bro. Use instead hemp, breach, and niggas know this shit. People already have what you can use instead. But let me show you, bro. Let me show you the insanity behind this shit, bro. Your shower curtain, right, bro? I already had this thing, like I said, it's mind over matter, so it just be pissing me off, and this anger deflect all this shit. But and other things, but just saying, like, fluorides in your water, and when you steam your water, you naturally, your pores open up all these different things. So if it's fluoride in your water and then you take a shower with all this steam and stuff, you're basically in a gas bath or a gas shower like they used to do with the internment camps and stuff like that. There's research you can do that has certain things that talk about that. But even then, just past that, the heat, the steam, all that different stuff, now is in that plastic, now is in that stuff that I would have no clue about that. In your shower curtain. And now with the fluoride, if you ask me, you don't have to use that. But even if, like I said, if you ask me to use the fluoride, and now you're using the stuff that's in the shower curtain, that steam and all that shit, bro, you're just breathing that in. And for me, that's one of my most not peaceful, but I spend a good time in the shower, bro. I be chilling in the shower, like. So, like I said, for me, I know I'm good, but styrofoam cups, they know that contains styrene, bro. They know we ain't supposed to be fucking with that shit. Books on your bookshelf. And let me stop here. I'm not gonna sit up here and say this is a day thing now, because certain things can be done straight out of ignorance. I've been saying that now. Some things I feel like it's clear as day, like the shower curtain shit. There may be something for me that's clear as day, especially when like I know with that steam and shit, breathing that shit in, and then that's when your pores and everything is the most open. So then you got the soaps and stuff like that from the Dove and all these other shit that's so trash, and they know they from the hair products, all that shit is so trash as far as poison, and they put it in the shower for you, and you use it when you're in the bathtub, because that's when you absorb the most shit as far as chemicals and shit, because you're not about to drink no chemicals, because you're just gonna naturally throw that shit up, but your body not gonna reject it if it's in the water, and your body's already in that homeostasis phase where it's letting in and letting out type shit. And when you have certain liquids and things like that, it's gonna naturally do that. That's what our skin is, homeostasis. If y'all don't know, that's the balancing of letting in water, letting in certain liquids and stuff like that. But granite countertops, and I said, I ain't even gonna say this is they could be that sinister, which they are with certain shit, installation. I'm sure that's some sinister shit. That's something I'm gonna say that's sinister as far as we live in that. That's the box we fucking live in, and y'all ain't create nothing else that's more better than that. And maybe we are that ignorant. But ain't nobody telling you that shit cancerous. And they know it. Fluorescent lights, that's everywhere. That's everywhere. And they know that for sure, bro. They talk about, that was one of the first things I read in spirituality. When fluorescent lights be draining the fuck out you in them office buildings and things like that. Making you docile as hell in them office buildings. That's why you're not really supposed to have fluorescent lights in your house either. But yeah, that artificial light, and it's bright as hell, that's cancerous too though. Let's see why I say though. They're not flattering her anyway. Next, I'm sorry, I went too far up. This down. Contains mercury, yeah. Bro, they tell us back with thermometers, don't crack that hoe. That's deadly. Now they put it in all the light bulbs. Those CFL compact fluorescent bulbs the government recommends actually could cause cancer. The government recommends it though. Vinyl flooring. Like I said, some stuff is out of ignorance, some is not. But regardless, bro, you around all this different poisons, bro. And nobody, since you ain't really showing symptoms, which you really are with the sniffles every day and the different things like that. But since you ain't really showing symptoms, they ain't got to bring attention to it. But trust me, bro, there's all these different things that just draining you. And they still not even getting to, they talking about some shit that I ain't even think about, bro. I ain't never even thought about. Leather, they naming shit that, this is new to me. Cleaning products. That's the shit I was talking about. The cleaning products, the soaps and shit we use, the detergents we use, the deodorants we use, the foods we eat. That's what I'm talking about. The toothpastes and shit. That's what I was talking about. But yeah, the food in your kitchen. I was gonna keep going. Your food may be hiding some cancerous things. Many different carcinogenics. Microwave, all that shit. I bet. Let me see. Microwave popcorn. Several foods that's been classified as carcinogen by the FDA, but they still allow it. That's why I say that some shit is out of ignorance, some shit's not, bro. Either way, it's time for them to step down. But red meat, microwave popcorn, cold cuts, 3 popular that can cause cancer. Carbonated beverages, farm fish, all these different things. It's mind over matter, don't get it twisted, but I'm just trying to show you how powerful you are. You go through, bro, you probably got every goddamn thing in your house is full of cancer. Full of it. Full of poison, bro. And y'all worry about some coronavirus? Nigga, you eat poison. You drink poison. You sleep in poison. It said bed on here, if I'm not mistaken. You wash in it. You bathe in it. We're basking in the poison in this world. We're in hell. That's why I always say it. Niggas don't get it, but this hell, bro, it's gonna light something up on us, and it ain't gonna stop burning. In us, though. In us, bro. And that's just me being funny. But when I say it, bro, we ain't shit, bro, and you gotta use this shit as fertilizer. And I said, we're here to drink the poison. We're here to drink from the bitter cup. That's our purpose. That's our mission. Because once we drink from this bitter cup, it's like when they in the 300, in the movie The 300, once he hit 13, they kick him out. He gotta go learn and fend for it and fight for himself. And that's gonna make him so much stronger as a warrior, as a king, as a leader, as a survivalist, as so many different things. Especially after they trained him so much up to being a 13, and then he take those same principles and have to go live it and don't have anybody to go back on. So it's really testing him. Ain't no bullshit ass test, no games. It's real test. It's life or death. Come back so much stronger. And so it's the same thing with us. We out here eating the poisons. We out here having to learn on our own for the most part, and it's only to make us stronger, bro. Because every time you drink from the poison, your body break down and build it up and get immune to those poisons. And same from the mental ideas and spiritual things, that spiritual attacks. The spiritual attacks are suck in the moment. The mental attacks suck in the moment. But once you get through it, that should have never happened to you again. And that's the most beautiful thing ever. This pain, this oppression, bro, the more we learn it, the more we understand it, this should have never happened to us again. Never happened to us again. And if it do, it won't be in this form. And I say it won't be in this form, it's gonna be some mad dumb shit. But even then, that means we ain't really learning the ins and the full ins and out of this shit. Then, if we even getting some shit similar to this, I mean, we missed some shit too. But let's keep going, man. I'm an hour in, but bro, my boy Panic dropped a 10-hour video with Eileen Bay. And then I realized, bro, when you go to school, nigga, you sit in that class for an hour, sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes, sometimes an hour and 30, sometimes 2 hours, just depending. So for me, bro, if you really about it, bro, if you really about this learning, this is just for me and myself, because I be trying to rush and put out these 30-minute videos, and that shit deadly in the sense of me trying to rush, bro, because there's so much connections and pieces, and me rushing made me put me everywhere. I'm not comfortable, and I can't just sit and let it come out, flow how I need to flow out. I'm forcing it in a sense, and that ain't harmony in a sense. So that's why I was struggling to make 15-minute videos and things like that. But yeah, I'm at an hour, bro, and I'm not gonna be stressing on it. Like I said, I'm not gonna try to go too far into it. But even then, bro, if you really about this knowledge, Panic dropped a 10-hour video. I'm already at 6 hours, 7 hours. I only got 3 hours left for that video. I was like, that hell gonna last me all week. That's a lot. So for me, it's like I eat this shit up. That's what I consume. That's what I consume, because that's what gives me. It feeds me so. It feeds me for so long, type shit. It's something that's well nourishing in a sense. So when you really about your nutrition, mental, physical, spiritual, whatever it is, you don't even got to be about all three. But when you're really about whatever, that's when you'll tune in. And even if you got to come back, that's fine. But I was struggling with that, bro, and trying to rush and categorize shit for certain people, bro. But if they can't sit here and watch 20, 30 minutes and come back, watch another 20, 30 minutes, you'll be back when you need to. Never come back at all. Either way, it's fine with me, especially at this point. Idealism and the philosophical. Philosophical. It'd be so funny. Cause I just laugh at myself because like this nigga so smart, but then this nigga can't say no motherfucking words. But it's like I never was invested into shit like this. Like, don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted. I ain't never been dumb with certain shit. I was just like, hey.
Philosophical.
Oh, philosophical. Philosophical. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't read that. I don't know why I'm so slow. I knew that. Oh yeah, philosophical. The theory that thoughts, well, idealism, the physical. Well, now I can't say the word no more. Go back. Philosophical. The philosophical theory. I ain't even have to listen to them. I have to, but if I seen the breakdown, they help me out. Philosophical. The philosophical theory that thoughts that the physiological theory that thoughts are the only reality. Idealism. One more poet. The poet mysticism is tempered by the tinge of idealism. Oh, for me, I agree with that. So, idealism, yeah. It's just what ideas are shaping this world. See, everything you can have a breakdown. It might not necessarily be bad, but or necessarily it ain't always this word means oppression and shit like that. It's just sometimes how shit is used. Yeah, we move out of idealism, but what ideals is leading this country or this nation or this world and the societies at hand? Usually parasitic ones, and consumer and materialistic ones and capitalistic ones. None that's for the holistic or the long term gain of everyone. Usually just a few benefit. Individualism, a doctrine that the doctrine that government should not interfere in commerce. It don't matter. Isolationism, a policy and non-participation in international relations. That shit don't matter. Liberalism, political orientation favoring social progress by reform. I'm gonna look at reform real quick. I mean, obviously, it's just a reshape. Yeah, for me, with liberalism, it's just like with most liberals, they do engage in reform, but usually the reform is still keeping the game going. It don't completely reform. It only do it to the short-sighted. Oh man, how do I say? The reform it's just another game that they be playing, bro. They're like, yeah, we'll change this, we'll make this so you'll have a proper checks and balances, but at the end of the day, it's still unjust. And liberalism for me is just their way of sweet talking you into believing that they're making change and to keep you into believing you should vote and stuff like that. That's how I look at liberalism. That's that trap. I actually hate liberals because they don't understand shit that you go through, bro. They empathize with it, but they don't fully understand it. And a lot of times the liberals play into certain stereotypes too. They believe in certain stereotypes too, because they're always trying to help or think somebody needs certain type of and how they choose to help, I would say, dictates how they also look at you. But yeah, let's not get too deep into liberalism. I just don't like them at all as far as liberals. Materialism, because it's the Trump version. We're going back to liberalism real quick. It's the Trump, and then you got the Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is, I bite my tongue to say it, because I can't necessarily say it's true. Because only reason I can say she's 10 times worse than Trump is because of her political. She's been in political shit for a lot longer than him, even though he's in it, dab in and out. I guess as far as his money and shit like that. But Hillary's literally been in it, so her log against her is a lot bigger for me to say that she's 10 times worse. But as far as I'm concerned, she's 10 times worse. Until some more evidence come out about Trump, bro, she's not even sinister, bro. She's heinous, bro. She's she's horrific. Some of the things that she done. Her, Joe Biden, Obama, and a lot of the liberals and Democrats, bro. They're how they look at us. Period. It's just her having hot sauce in her bag. Like I said, the way they kind of treat and the way they talk to us, you can tell how they still believe in certain stereotypes, even though they're saying they're trying to help us. And Hillary bringing that hot sauce out was the biggest example of that shit. If y'all didn't see that on what's that fucking show? Power Breakfast Club. Materialism, the philosophical theory that matter is the only reality. So when I say materialism, I guess I'd be saying it wrong, because I guess I'm really talking more about consumerism. But even in materialism, it's just the idea of how I look at materialism, how we value materials more than the eternal, the shit that create the material. We value the things that we create more than what create the material. And a lot of times we get lost in those products, and those products can't save us, bro. Only thing that can save us is us. That's what I say. We get lost in our products, and we think these products can save us, but at the end of the day, we can't. They can't. And let's repeat what I said, because I had something else to say, but I lost it in a sense. But when I say materialism, they basically worship the shit that they create instead of worshiping themselves and growing that. They try to make the product better and never themselves better. So just saying, if you're in a trash culture, like I believe in this society is trash and all, like I said, or basically you're going to what you grow, what you produce is going to be trash. And if you keep trying to elevate the produce or the product, you basically just keep doing trash inventions in a sense. Even and when I say trash, in the sense of you're not building yourself up. You keep building that up, and the more you build that up, the less you focus on yourself, the less you can build yourself. And that goes to a couple different things. When you're working like at a job or something like that, or you're working like a Steve Jobs or something like that. He had no family life. He had no probably friends or anything like that, because he was so focused on being innovative. He was so focused on the product that he lost sight of himself. And it's okay to get lost inside. Losing sight of yourself sometimes, because that's how a couple different things can come of that. Some good, some bad. But like I said, you keep getting lost out of sight of that, you'll start being drained, basically, because you're putting all this work in and you're not taking care of the main thing. You're taking care of that more, in a sense of, a lot of times, like if we create that thing, if we create that song, or if we create that art, we start to be slaves to that, because we think that's what's guaranteeing our survival. That's what's guaranteeing us thriving. And it's not. You forgot where the magic came out of, and it's you. And without taking care of you, and if you all about that product or that entertainment form is the bottom line, you get lost in that, because that's what you become. You become that entity or that corporation that you're working for, or whatever, that product that you're working for. And sometimes the product can be good, sometimes the product can be great, but it can be even better if you're doing your proper things and staying balanced, because it's all about balance. That's basically that. But yeah, with materialism, like I said, from this form of it, matter is the only reality. That's not the truth, because I guess the mind is matter. But if I'm just gonna nitpick that statement, the brain would be matter. The mind and the mental, I guess, what the brain kind of produces, I guess you could call that matter too, but who knows. Yeah, it would be matter, because those thoughts have certain weight and certain electrical signals. So that's matter. It just yeah. So yeah, no, physiological. So yeah, that theory is a little too. Uh, that's not what I would refer to as materialism. I talk about, like I said, more of consumerism and getting lost in buying things and shit that's outside of yourself. But as far as matter, you're matter as well, and um, your matter is your only reality in a sense. So yeah, I can't say that's not wrong, but there's so much other matter outside of you in the sense of illusions and shit. So yeah, nationalism, the doctrine that your country interests are superior. Like I said, what can we do? Not what I can do for the country, but what can the country? No, what not what can the country do for you, but what can you do for it? That's what Kennedy said. I ain't even gonna look at this statement. Y'all can look this shit up. But nationalism, the doctrine that your country interest is more superior than yours. That's one of our most. That's nationalism and corporate. If you could say corporationism, and they have that same definition, but just with corporate, those things move with so much more authority than we ever have, and that's the same thing as what I talked about with. Let's see if I can find it real quick. What was the other one that was just like that? Hmm. I don't remember. Fuck it. Well, yeah, that's just how it is. They 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 move in the best interest of them. They're superior, and they treat us like I said. They treat the fandoms or the people that the working class. Um, they treat us like shit because we're at the bottom of the totem pole. But even then, the bottom of the totem pole is the foundation. That's what they lose sight of in their ignorance. Um, and yeah, if you treat your foundation like shit, this is something I've been wanting to say. You are your weakest link, and that's one the biggest thing as far as moving through ignorance. And how I know our leaders move through ignorance is from the way they treat us. Because if they were truly smart and they were truly holistic, they wouldn't treat their foundation like this. They wouldn't treat the people that keep their system going like this. They would treat us so much better. It would be in their benefit for us to have knowledge, but they don't look at life like that because they're so ignorant. They treat their foundation like shit. They mock us. They play us. They enslave us even more. They try to find more ways to make us work harder for less value. They always trying to get down to the bottom line. They always like when it comes to how can we optimize this? How can we optimize this building? It's always gonna come out of our paycheck. We're gonna always get less. I'm like, man, the product gotta stay the product. There's only so much you can skip out on making this product before the product turn trash. We gotta make our money regardless. The shipping and the people that's making our shit, they gotta make their money regardless because they making it at this price that we want. So who gonna lose out? Most likely the people, the workers somewhere somewhere from the whatever. Most of the time it's gonna be the workers. So in that same aspect, yeah, nationalism treat is the people in this society like shit, and yeah, they show us in every way that they feel that they're more superior than us, and don't give a fuck about us. Yeah, man. And when I talk about, see, I have different ideas how I look at shit. Nationalism to me is tribalism on how you basically just how I was taught nationalism means is that you follow your nation. But even then, I guess that's still right. Is it raining? Oh, it is raining. I'm like, damn. But yeah, the doctrine. What I was saying, treatment at the bottom of the tunnel pole. Shit is like shit. Optimize, make sure we get the least. Oh, well, I was saying what I felt my nationalism is. I guess it's the same thing where We basically uplift, and we're here for this team in a sense. Like when it comes to tribalism and a sports team, like all of us together makes this team great as far as fans, as far as players, as far as coaches, whatever. But the fans usually are so infatuated with that sports team or that tribe that that tribe or that sports team become their god, or at least close enough, or at least their religion or something. Like they said, football took up God's day, and you gotta think that's for us to be a religious nation. Is in God we trust. Supposedly, I say that in mockery. Um, yeah, sports can take up certain, and not just sports. There's jobs that are people God because of how much they make, or the status that job give them. Like I said, same with the tribes and stuff. So even then, you feel superior, or you feel that they're superior just because of the emotion that it brings you, as far as like with sports, and whatever, or like I said, sometimes with status or however, some type of, it gives you a little bit, and since it gives you something, since it feeds you, that naturally makes you feel so. That naturally makes it superior, because you're eating off of it. Yeah, and like I said, bro, if it got truth, bro, it's gonna stem down through anything that you say. And like I said, since we eat off their nations or their tribes, we feel that they're superior. But at the end of the day, who's really more superior is us, because they need us to want to eat off of them. They need our energy. They need to manipulate us and things like that. So even then, it's like they're truly consuming us, but we don't see it that way because of our ignorance. But we think they're powerful because of whatever the little shit that we get from them. But what we're giving them is so much more. Like I said, you're giving them a foundation to exist on. When you get fans, when you build we're seeing that every day now. When you build your own brand, those fans give you a foundation that really is hard to take away from certain people. So you may give that fan a song or two or an album that they like. In turn, they give you a life that you love, as far as like money and what they do as far as support. Like, yeah, you're supporting them as far as music, but that one album, it didn't change their survival. It didn't change, in a sense like that. So same with any other thing. The fans, bro, it's their foundation, bro. And usually they still treat it like shit, even though it's their foundation, bro. But let's keep going. I'm already at hour 30. Nihilism, the doctrine that advocates destruction of social systems. In her despair, she succumbed to the sort of nihilism that made her ask, what is this reason for anything? Fact, bro. A lot of people are becoming nihilistic. And it's because it's like, bro, what I keep working check to check. I keep working week to week. Check to check. I keep struggling. I keep trying to survive. Every day I be surviving, barely keeping head above water. Sometimes nose and mouth underwater. Till I can get a burst of energy to get above water again. Sometimes I've been in rock bottom for a minute. Like, not me in general, but I've been looking up out of it, and this hole just don't seem to get, like, I'm just saying, like, some people just sit in rock bottom for a minute in their life and just be looking up. I see the light, but it's too far away in a sense. So, a lot of people become nihilistic, like I said, man, and the destruction of social systems. Let's look up social systems, bro. Let's see what this is. I love looking at images, especially teaching with them. Cause I talk about social pressures, but the social systems is kind of referring to something else a little bit. Oh, okay. Store planning. Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, we look at here. you could say some of this, like the class, could be outside of, like, it's the, for me it's the individual, it's the school, it's the cut. For me, it's the individual, it's the district, it's the school, then it's the class, then it's the community, nation, world. These are so, I guess you could say how. I'm not even really sure what this is. It's a social system and interactions, but for me, the biggest thing I want to point out is the individual is the core. Even though that would be the individual here, would be the fan, that would be the working class. The individual matters the most. That individual grain of salt, bro, can bring down everything. This is the Luke Skywalker. This is, who else was I talking about? This is David versus Goliath. But the reason I say the district, because the district dictates what school you kind of go to, and usually they redline you or whatever, they put you in hood. So the district is usually determined by the individual. If you look at they place they put in certain individuals in certain districts, and then in that district you get a certain school, and then in that school you come out with a certain class, and then either whether that's working, the jailmates, high class society member, elitist, judge, entertainer, the gesture, the whatever. There's many different archetypes you can play out in this world, but that all comes from this kind of setup that dictates where you kind of fall at and land. But then it goes to the community or nation. The community or nation or the world is fine if it was taking care and thinking about the individual, the core, but usually it's so disconnected from its core, and like I said, they be shitting on us so much it don't even matter. They don't even be worried about us. This looks like something. Social systems. Can I make this bigger? Social systems. Human population is viewed in its ecological context into as many subsystems or larger ecological systems. What's ecological? Or ecological? I'm about to say, I know ecosystems, but I guess it's just saying ecosystem. Alright, I just knew it was a different kind of word. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't trying to teach me something else. The term socio-culture systems, socio, I think I'm getting good at these different words, embraces the three concepts: social, culture, and system. Society, culture, and system. A society is a number of independent organisms of the same species. Independent organisms of the same species, and that's why I say we get lost in egoism and the feminism and all these different things, because we got the independent organism that we think we need to uplift, but at the end of the day, from the same species, humanity or whatever the society breeds, you're still the same. And like I said, we get so caught up in that individual game of, I can't say we get so caught up in the individual game, but they teach us to get lost in the individual game, and looking at the other things that's outside of you is bad. That's the good and evil paradigm. But at the end of the day, it's the same. That's just hilarious to me. But a culture is learned behavior that is shared by members of the society together with the material products of such behavior. So the culture, I've been saying that word, is a learned behavior that are shared by the members. But where does this behavior learn from? Somebody has to be pushing this doctrine. Somebody has to be pushing this way of moving. And I break that down already. I'm just being facetious. Socio. The word society and culture are fused together for the word socio. So yes, I would say socio. A system is a collection of parts which interact with each other to function as a whole. But look at us. This going back to what I was saying. We individuals, but we do not we're so divided, we'll never be able to function as a whole. And since we can't function as a whole, we're gonna always be moving in a chaotic way of life. And like I said, we're naturally chaotic beings, and that's why we in this world, and that's why we're growing. And but like I said, let me finish. Let me reread what I said. Yeah, but like I said, since we're so divided in things, it makes things. It could be so much easier, but it's not meant to be easy. Like what Joe Rogan talk about, maybe it's the universe, maybe it's not they, maybe it's the universe, maybe it's God or whatever you want to call it, maybe it's yourself, like how I say. But yeah, so if we was moving for the whole, moving at the holistic, moving for the short term, middle term, and long term, holistic, things would be a lot better. If we was moving for every piece of the tonal pole and realized how every piece was valuable, it would be looked at a lot different. But since we're so divided through a lot of these tactics, we'll never be able to be a functioning society as a whole. We'll be able to function. That shit funny. A collective part which interacts with each other to function as a whole. We'll be able to function, but it's gonna be so dysfunctional. I ain't say what type of function. It's a dysfunctional function. So when you look at it that way, yeah, we're moving, we're functioning, but it's out of the most dysfunctional way possible at this point. And if you look at the big picture of this dysfunction and how we move it, it's parasitic. But let's keep going. The socio-cultural systems is most likely to be found in the writing and anthropologics. No, I ain't gonna go past no word. I know the word, but I don't know it. That's why I almost said it right. I really be saying shit out of memory and not off like pronunciation. I ain't gonna hold y'all. Anthropologitis, because it's a lot of times, bro. I'm like, bro, I don't remember how that shit supposed to sound. Instead of just typing every fucking thing, act like I know how to use a computer. Nigga, they like what this is. The definition ain't gonna pop up. An expert and a student. Oh, I'm like, nigga, don't of anthropologist. So anthropology. So the study of human and human behavior, societies in the past and present. Okay, cool. What that was? Anthropologist. The study of human. I'm an anthropologist. Study of human behavior in societies in the past and present. Wow, that's one of my hats. Like I said, be having certain definitions. I don't be knowing that. I mean, obviously there's a definition for that, but I wasn't thinking of it like that. Who specializes in anthropology? I don't know if I'm saying that either. Right. So let's see, man. Let's move this to the side a little more. I don't know if it's gonna let me move it to the side. I just read the shit that you can't see. Sustainable, interacting with the ecosystem. Unsustainable, it's on the other side. So you got your good and bad, and then this one in blue, that one in red. In the middle is purple. When you come together, royalty. And don't blue and red make purple? Yeah. In the middle is purple. With the infrastructure structures, superstructures. Okay. So the blue. Thank you, bro. This is a perfect little setup. So the sustainable is on this side. You got air, water, wild animals, wild plants. Why? Because that shit is all renewable. On the other side, you got unsustainable, leading to social collapse. It says it. That's why I say a lot of this shit not done out of ignorance. It's done out of... Well, it probably initially was done out of ignorance, but the fact that it keep going is done out of sinister ways. Sunlight? Nah, sunlight can't be one. Soil, minerals, oil, gas, coal. Wait, what was I reading? Unsustainable. Huh. Okay, because I seen oil and I seen coal, I seen minerals, I seen gas. I don't know about soil. Soil's no, I guess soil not renewable because they talk about sand running out and shit like that. We run out of sand on the beaches and stuff like that. So sunlight maybe, but sunlight is infinite. That's the most infinite thing here. You can't have air, water, wind, and wild plants without sunlight. Well, you can't have functioning air, water without sunlight. So I'm not sure about that one. Maybe it's just talking about these four right here. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Cause it got yellow and red by minerals, and then oil, coal, and gas is like right by the red arrow, and then all the other arrows, literally all the other yellows are blue and green. So okay, it is what I initially thought. So let's go into infrastructures. But just saying that alone, bro, that shows you that the system won't last forever because you build your system on unrenewable resources. But ports building, that's the infrastructure that we build on. Ranching, marriage, manufacturing, farming, mining, roads, bridges, infrastructure. Yeah, I mean that's the foundations, the little foundations we have. That's the working class and shit like that. And then you got the structure, social heresy, social organization, political institutions, kinship, division of labor. And for me, I just go here and I try to tie in the one on top as well. Like I said, everything is done in a trash way. So if you're looking at the kinship, you're looking at the social organizations, the political institutes, it's usually the social heresies. They're usually in some way or form trying to manipulate the working class to stay the working class. Same with the art, same with the science, same with the religion, ideology, and philosophy. Most of our entertainment and stuff like that is just to keep us distracted in our working class. So, yeah, the foundation is basically, like I said, that's the working class and what we put up and what we have to build and what we have to keep going and keep showing up to so things will keep flowing as far as the working class. And this next class kind of dictates and keep us with the working mentality as far as fear or as far as even rhetoric of, hey, working to pull your bootstraps up, that's a good way to live, like when you already been put down so far. But little things like that they come up with, same with philosophies and stuff like that, that keep you entranced. Same with the religion and stuff like that. All these religions, all these sciences, and at least how they're taught to us, or how all these philosophies are taught to us, especially ones in like the mainstream form of them, they're all taught to keep this world divided and things like that. So, yeah, I guess that's socio-culture structures. I wasn't even really trying to get into that at all, but yeah, naturally, that's cool. I had clicked off and I seen Zeitgeist, system thinking, system theory, sustainability, societal collapse, cultural systems. Yeah, I'm good on those. But, nihilism, a doctrine that advocates the destruction of social systems. Oh, that's why I came to this shit. Yeah, I mean, if you see how shit is stacked against you, literally, you're at the bottom and all these things on top of you. If things were stacked on top of you and they was saying, hey, we're going to lift you up, we're going to give you a boost because we're like a parent lifts you, a parent's on top of you, but they here to lift you up in a sense of that's their power paradigm is and giving you life in a sense. They have power over you, especially in the early stages. So just because you're on top don't mean you have to be an oppressor and shit like that by any means. But since you see how it is and how what's above or the wisdom or the leaders that was before us and the people that was before us, we can, or what you would say on top of us at this point, they don't give a fuck. So yeah, most people are nihilists, and you're gonna see that even more and more. Pragmatism. The doctrine that practical consequence determine value. Hold on, cousin. The doctrine that Practical consequences determine value. I'm gonna skip past that one. Rationalism, the doctrine that reasons the bias in regulating conduct. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, all these things are tools, so they can be used as good or bad. But like I said, they're usually being used as trash. I can't never say that word. Totalitarianism. Fuck it. Totalitarianism. The principle of unrestricted power in the government. We got the unchecked shit. All the different shit like that. The principle, the unrestricted power. That's it, man. Most things we got here go unchecked. And then we got our last one, capitalism. Economic system based on private ownership of assets. How do I want to break this down? Capitalism focuses on individualism and the free contractual arrangements and replace a system in which familiar formality, fuck, I don't know what that word says. I'm over here like, what they say? I did say it. I'm trying to. A free contractual agreement replaced a system in which familiar, communal, or religious bonds had greater influence over long-term relationships. It basically just said everything became a business. They took the family out of it. They took communal, when you talk about community, out of it. They took religion out of it. Took God out of it. Which, when I say all these things are different tools, capitalism could be good if you was using business, but when you usually take out family, community, and God, what are you keeping in mind? Like, it's not that you're just taking them out of, yeah, bro. If you're replacing it, bro, you don't really have you don't have any interest of that those things really existing in your corporation. And like I said, when you look at it like that, bro, you took away religion, you took away God. I'm not gonna say their idea of God or whatever. None of that shit really matter. Just saying they took out God because it's hard to make certain moves if you Tim Tebow can't be out here fucking bitches and being at the club every day because he take knees and shit like that. So you can't make certain moves if you got God in mind. Like I said, that it's certain checks and balances you got to have when you got God in mind. People gonna look at you a lot different, have certain expectations on you to move a certain way when you got God in mind. So when you say you ain't got God in mind, you ain't got family in mind or community, you can always say it's just business. It's just us doing business. And I already talked about how disgusting that is. And then just going back into the original, the economic system based on private ownership of assets. Usually assets come from Earth. And last time I checked, Earth was free. So it's usually a fucking scam on how this is mine or me. And that's, like I said, that's you could be considered, that's what Native Americans, how they moved through moralism and religion, or that was their religion. How I ain't even gonna say that, bro. That's kind of funny, bro. Just I'll say the idea of what Native Americans was, but Native Americans went to war and shit too. And if everybody's land was theirs and shit, I guess they were going to war over mentalities. That's the only thing I could think of. But they definitely was in like a 400-year war. Native Americans and shit was fighting and shit here too. Was enslaving different different other natives and stuff like that too. So even then, Like I said, they weren't moving 100% well, but just like I said, the idea of how they used to move, or how they say they move, in the sense of the land is everyone's and the things like that. So if you look at shit like that, um, capitalism basically is this game of owning everything, and and that's basically monopolization. If you could, the more you own, the more power you have. In this world, at least, but I'm getting sleepy as fuck. I don't know if y'all could tell. Nigga just, as we got towards the end, nigga went on a whole little rant with the social systems. So let's see. I'm done with the isms and shit. I ain't gonna explain capitalism too much further. Alright, you can't see this shit. But this circle is person, this circle is family systems, this circle is neighborhood social systems, local social systems, state and providence social systems, national social systems, and then global. Man, and out of all the ones that care about you, you maybe get the neighborhood and you maybe get the family. Most people get family. But shit, if you look at this shit, like I said, some people don't even care about themselves, so you may not even get person. You may not even get the individual, or in the sense of when I talk about the shit be stacked on top of you and nobody cares, or how all this shit is compartmentalized, and each compartmentalization gets more and more detached from you. You are already detached from yourself, just naturally from our indoctrination and stupidity and ignorance. And then the same for family. Sometimes with that ignorance, the family can't coexist, but that's not always the case for sure. But then, yeah, you go to the neighborhood. Depending on what neighborhoods, they may care about you, may not. But yeah, you keep going, it get more and more disconnected. I'm gonna make this big. Might as well wrap it up to 2 minutes. Social system engineering. That's when I started to say shit is sinister and heinous. But yeah, man, from like I said, America's just Great Britain 2.0. Great Britain is just Rome 2.0. All the shit gonna fall. But then I said the Egyptian and shit, Greek and Roman shit is just another version of the Egyptian, the pharaohs and the people there, and then they're just a reflection of shit. Some other people in Africa, then you can go to Atlantis and shit like that. Then you go to Mars and whatever. Just pyramid. It just keeps going and keep going. But like I said, it all ended up falling. And it's time. And if you ask a why, they were like, "Oh, so what's the difference now? If it's been happening since we was on Mars, it was in a different age. We're going into the age of Aquarius now. So I guess that's what it is. Because that's the question that popped up in my head. So what's the difference? Even then, it ain't gonna be too much easier. It's gonna be easier because, like I said, that's what we're working towards. But even then, it's still gonna be challenges and shit you gotta deal with. But social, economic, and social system. You got the pharaoh. Then you got the priests and the nobles. Then you got the traders, shopkeepers, and scribes. Then you got the farmers, herders, and then you got unskilled workers. And this is the best example because that's just how it is today. And when I talk about how the celebrities and shit are the real slaves and we're just motherfucking cattle. If you have no skills, you're not valuable, bro. You're usually almost, and if you can't work, if you can't just do labor, then you damn sure ain't got nothing else for society. But even then, like that's all you got to rely on is your labor. And then for some people, they got the intellect of farming and herding, which is a certain type of wisdom and intellectual need. So you get to be a little bit higher. And then you go on to the traders and shit, which makes the society money, just like the farmers and herders. It makes the society money, a certain level of money. Then you go to the priests and nobles, which kind of help shape people so they stay in their they stay not reaching outside of their lane. Basically, that's what the priests and nobles do as far as dictate philosophies and dictate certain judicial systems on them, and then the pharaoh keeps those people in check. But nobody checks the pharaoh because nobody's on top of him. But who has the most power here in this whole dynamic? That bottom class, the unskilled worker. Because why? You are your weakest link. That pharaoh is the unskilled. You shouldn't have no unskilled workers. Why you got unskilled workers? Because you're an unskilled leader. And your biggest downfall is your weakest link. It's that simple. But like I said, through their ignorance, they look at us this disgrace. They throw away their challenges and their problems that they have to fix to make their system better. They like, nah, let's just keep them enslaved, and that'll be good enough for me. But if they really had high aspirations for their society and for their people and even for themselves, they'll reach out and grow better. But usually pharaohs are so egotistical, they don't think they can get better. They're already at their best. They're already at their pinnacle. But that's a fucking flaw or a lie. Well, that wasn't even that much to read there. Oh, let's keep it going. I like shit like this. This that Tupac. We're hungry, we need some food. We're hungry, we need some food. And then they go into some gonna let us in. Some you better let us in. We're gonna break in. Some shit like that. But that's this shit right here, bro. As far as there being society classes, and it's like, bro, I could see y'all eating. I could see y'all doing better than me. And I'll be comfortable with this shit for a little bit. But as this hunger grows, as my curiosity grows on how that good food tastes, I'm gonna start to want to attain some shit. Farmers, slaves. See right here, they got the farmers and slaves, and damn near the same. You got your soldiers, you got your scribes, you got your merchants. These are old school shit. I'm clicking these so I can find some up to date shit. So yeah, I like this one better. I was gonna say I think the scribes and soldiers. I think scribes are would be higher than soldiers, but all this shit is semantics. Just know that there's levels to this shit, and depending on what society, some societies made, like in the Roman 300s, soldiers was at the top. Then you had the priests and shit underneath, and nobles and shit, and scribes and shit underneath. But some other societies, they got different people in different places just because that's where they want to put their pawn pieces, or that's how they want to set up their board. Like I said, some people think their military is going to be everything. Some people think they need philosophy to keep people in check. It all depends on what that pharaoh would think is needed. Did I look up ancient Egyptian shit? I mean, I know this is like similar photos, but damn, usually they put up modern shit too. Let's just go to class systems. Okay. This is basically what I was saying about the puppets and shit. Feudalism then and now. Alright, everyone else. And that was medieval versus corporate feudalism now. Everyone else, and then you have your vassals, which is vassals, if you look at the word vessels, I guess you would say. Your vessel is some of the most important shit, your stomach, your foundation, whatever. But your farmers, your military officers and shit like that. And you go over here, you got the top officers, entertainers, and clergy. Then you go to top bureaucrats as far as commissioners, secretaries, judges. You go on the other side, those are like your merchants and shit back then. Then you go to royal ministers, those are like your elected officials, okay? Then you got your corporate elites like the Fortune 500s. Those are then you got the clergy, like the clergymen. But then you have your big banks. which the corporations have to pay their money to, their taxes and all that shit too. Like I said, there's always somebody on top of them. And then you got your central banks and things like that, which basically control everything from military to education, doctor, and everything like that. And who checks them? It has to be everyone else. But we are here. Yeah. But that's how that kind of works. Where we have all the power because we're the foundation. But since we're so ignorant since we're ignorant of our status and being that foundation, it's hard for us to make changes. Class systems. Would have thought more shit popped up. Class. Let's do social pyramid. Pyramid. Alright. It's looking like that's about it. I'm sure it's gonna be some other shit. Modern. Yeah, follow the money. That's a good one. At 2 hours, I'm about to wrap it up. My beautiful cards. My beautiful cards. Man, what the fuck I click on? Okay, here we go. People, planet, and all living things are not even inside of the pyramid. Because why? Those things all inside that pyramid don't give a fuck about this planet or the things on it. So that's hilarious. Nigga, that's what I talked about. Nigga, they don't even look at you as something. You're not even in their pyramid scheme. Which you are, because they need you to be slaves. But I'm just saying, bro, that like this is hilarious to me. Financial elites. Let's see, we got the government, you got the military, then you got the corporocracies. That's gonna be my next video. What are the what are the crassies? What are the crassies of the world that we exist in? You got the Exxon, Energy, GE. I'm not sure what the Masano, GM. Yeah. Oh, I've been forgetting about genetically modified foods, bro. When I talk about eating the poison and shit like that, bro, almost everything's genetically modified these days and processed. Almost everything about to be like that now. Everything gonna be seedless and shit like that. And don't get it twisted, huh? When I talk about modified, shit could still be grown like regular crops. The shit just not the original form of it. Let's see, the big banks, Wall Street, are the U.S. versions of the International Central Bank scam. We got the Chase, the Manhattan Mortgage. It's basically the same one. And then you got your Federal Reserve, you got the Bank of England, and then you got the Reserve Bank of Australia. So they basically told you have the most power when it comes to that ranking. Then you have the IMF, which are central banks, and the World Bank. And then you have the Bank of International. And then you have the financial elites, which, you know, the actual people that's in it. Because these corporations are all just things that these people can hide behind. Because they could step down, they can do all these different things, not have to get elected, make their money, and nobody really ever know because they hide behind the corporation. The corporation is what you judge if the corporation do something bad. You're not going to, like with... what's this Enron? You don't think about none of the people in Enron, especially me not being inside of it. I don't know none of the people in Enron that was a part of the shit that brought it down. I'm sure maybe a few big names if you look it up, but you remember Enron. So these people I'm sure some people in Enron got arrested and shit like that. I'm sure, but even past shit like that happened in Houston too, huh? It'd be funny when shit happened in your city. But yeah, it'll be. I'm sure some people got arrested, but I'm also sure that some people got to hide. and get away from shit, especially some of the elite people. I'm sure a lot of the people that end up getting whole are the working class, or a few. I think there's some with stock, like a few of the people that make sales and shit like that. But it wasn't the overall people. Sociopathy, the social factor as poverty, old age, or crime, inequality, racism, injustice, misogyny, political ideals, religious division, and that tends to increase social disorganization and inhibit personal adjustments. Like I said before, bro. You got feminists attacking the men. You got blacks fighting the blacks fighting the whites. You got Muslims versus Christians. You got, what else? So many injustices. Cop violence, all this different shit. All these different things keep you distracted and off track, basically. Like I said, it inhibits personal adjustment, personal growth. That's what that should say. The study of such factors and social problems that produce, not to be picky, social pathologies are what keep those at the top in power. Like I said, these people come up, the people at the top, like the scribes and things like that, they write down the laws with the nobles and things like that. They kind of come up with the different laws and philosophies to manipulate the art they want to show. Because there's a lot of art out there, a lot of art that frees the mind, but they put the art that's confusing or divisive and things like that out there. Let's see. That's it for that one. Oh no, it's a long article. Let's see what this is all about. I'm good on knots. Capitalism pyramid. I like this one. I know y'all do too. That's why I be having. That's why I gotta get this computer up, get these visuals going, man. Visuals do a lot. I'm at 210, almost 210. I don't even know this shit gonna end at this point. I don't know what's soon though. And I'm talking about my phone. In reality, this society needs to do the same thing as what I just said. It needs to be soon. It don't need to be. I'm not stressing, but I know it is soon. Need to be just sound like just so desperate. I ain't desperate. I ain't desperate. I do want it to happen though, but I ain't desperate. I'm good out here. Either way, I'm good. I'm a beast. I'm a thug. It's my lessons I have to learn. Alright, bro, let's load. I'm just in my zone, bro. Because I could have been in this video, but I like it. I like this. I like this little setup. I can record my face. Merge this shit. I got a little editing software system I came up on. It's a little janky, but it's free, so can't complain. I cannot complain. Alright, you got the working class. As far as, I love that they put the prisons there, because the prisons is a big part of free labor, and even government subsidies and stuff like that when they give people money and stuff like that for keeping a certain amount of prisoners. But now they move into the private industry. What was that? Capitalism, where everything is ownerism of the private. Yeah, so moving into the capitalism where even the prison industries are being privatized. That's what the word was. So they'll be basically being just like the new modern the modern sweatshops and things like that. Yeah, you got the people that slaughter the food and shit like that. And the working class people, or the super working class people. And then basically the slaves of society. I'm trying to figure out why they got these people hanging up the food and shit. I feel like this is a regular job, but I guess I get what they're saying. The miners and shit like that. Oh, just bullshit ass jobs. The bullshit roles of society. And yeah, these people do start to form certain philosophies, being in this, like I said, the weakest link, the lowest link. Yeah, bro, like that's the problem, bro. Like the fact that we keep seeing this mass incarceration and we think, oh, it's okay, we have protection. It's like, no, bro, you only putting a band-aid on the problem, because you shouldn't have mass incarceration. Why? Because we should not be having this type of ignorance.
Why is this ignorance still being produced with all this education and all this food and all this health and all this medical and all this different commodities and not commodities, different luxuries that we have in America? Why do we still have this struggle? Why do these people still uh, do these ghetto things and move in these ghetto ways? Because the leaders are ghetto, the leaders are ignorant, and you are your weakest link. But we don't think like that. When you think you are your weakest link, you're going to try to raise that link up, bro. You're going to work on that weakness. You're not going to ignore it. A lot of people ignore that weakest link. But yeah, let's keep going. Then you got the military, which is also the police. Just the military the military act like cops in other places and dictate and push democracy and things like that. Same with the police here. They push certain agendas from democracy, capitalism, all these different things. And you got your drug dealers, the crack babies, homeless, the struggle, the bandos. They look like the bandos. That's basically the secondary struggle. Was when the second row right there. That's basically that you can end up right back in prison or struggling to stay in that lane. And then you get the people that make it out of that to the next level. That's the bottom of the middle class. Shit start getting a little confusing. Bottom of the middle class. Then you see them rise up. Oh, okay, I see you. They rise up. They make it to these office levels. Well, yeah, this is when I'm really looking at all this. This more a political cartoon. That shit funny. They got the door. They got the door on where these people graduating from out of the school. They got the door on the fucking on the corporate on the jobs, I guess, where they can't get into. So I guess they go back downstairs and then they start robbing and shit. That's what's happening, and breaking shit up. I think that's what's happening. Yeah, I don't know. But then you got the doctors, the scientists, the judges. And then you got the bankers. I don't know who that is above them. And they got the president and shit up there. Oh yeah, that's some bullshit. The president ain't that high up. But that's more of like a political cartoon. Yeah, these the ones I want. These the ones I want. This the come on, we need some food. I be fucking up songs or little rhythms. I drank some beer last night. That shit got to giving me the hiccups. That way. Oh, I'm outside. That's why this song ain't hitting like that. I'm like, bro, why my shit taking so long to load? You know, I got that yummy. What's up, cousin? All right, these. Alright, so I'm gonna wrap it up at 2:15. Already there. This ain't even. Nah, that ain't it. That ain't it, cuz. Alright. Capitalism pyramid. Let's just do this, bro. I don't even feel like letting that shit load up again. There we go. Oh. Capitalism. We rule you. We fool you. We shoot you. We eat for you. We work for you all. We feed y'all. We feed all. We feed all. We work for all. Yeah. And that's another thing. When I talk about the hand that feeds you, they rely on us. And they treat us like shit. You rely on your weak link to be the working class. But the fact that you leave us so weak is stupid. Because it's just stupid. I mean, yeah, we could be under your control, but it's short term, bro. It's so many games and shit you gotta play to make that keep working, and it's like just give up, bro. Yeah, we rule you. The people that rule you, bro, they don't got time to be fooling you. They ain't got time. So they gotta hire some jesters and hire some entertainments and hire some religious leaders to fool you. Cause I'm powerful, bro. I don't got time to be talking to the masses. I don't want to be seen by the masses just in case anything happened. Cause we seen back in the day used to cut people heads off when shit got too bad. So, how can we stop that from happening? Not putting our heads on our face on shit. So you put you hire these people to be leaders and stuff like that and fool you. And these people will happily do it. Why? Because if not, you're going to be either a soldier in this working class. And I really don't know who we eat for you. I mean, I guess that's the 1% of the 1%, I guess. Like they got money, they got wealth. They in certain roles and shit. These would be low-level celebrities, certain media people, certain politicians. This would be your high-up celebrities, your high-up politicians that really affect people, your high-up religious leaders. And these would be some of the lower ones, I guess, that still keep up that agenda, basically. And then these are people that go fight for the agenda. So they matter a little bit more. But then you got the people all the way at the bottom. Well, yeah, man, that's basically it. That's basically it, man. All this is, bro, is just to show y'all what's stacked up against us. So y'all will stop thinking this shit a game. Honestly. But hopefully, like I said, I always create this information. So the fear and ignorance can subside. Insecurities and stuff that we have can subside. Like, nigga, I can't read it, all this other different shit. But I'm out here still. I could be insecure, and that could build up a certain level of shit, which it usually does. It's like, the reason I say that, just even information and knowledge can bring a certain level of fear and repelling nature. So when I get this information and stuff, I don't want you to lose sight of that David beat Goliath, because I'm basically showing you how powerful they are. I'm showing how all the shit is stacked up against you, how you at the bottom. Like, I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to push this weight off my shoulder. It's too much. They're too strong. They're too powerful. I can never win. You get that defeatist mentality. And yeah, bro, you have to just keep in mind, the rebels will beat the I think not the Alliance, but I don't fucking remember their name. But Luke Skywalker will take down the Death Star. David will take down Goliath. So this is really the most important part of the whole message. I said Dave. All I got there, yum. That's not. Thor. Let's see. Scorpion King. What was Thor? Oh, the 300. Even though they didn't necessarily, they beat him in the next movie. And they should have beat him in that movie, but that basically Leonidas had a weakness and didn't accept that dude in, because he had a certain standard, and that standard ended up being what brought him down. Because if he'd just let that one dude in, put him in the back somewhere, I understand his weakest. I get it, his weakest link. He didn't want that to be his weakest link, but in doing that and castigating him. It put him in a shitty situation, and the dude came back and bit him. Clash of the Titans. He basically had to fight against gods. But that was another brother Penny just brought this up when I talked about Monster Inc. I talk about the Matrix and them feeding off of energy. The gods got weak as the people stopped praying. That's the same as American gods, and they literally felt fed off of their fear, fed off of their anxiety, fed off their lack of wisdom and not understanding, basically. And they wanted them to pray to them. But it had got so bad that they didn't do it no more. But that's just another way of showing they eat our energy. Even the gods you worship. Wrath of the Titans, Lord of the Rings, Hercules, obviously. He had to go against the devil, or whatever you want to call it, and then those 7 different things. Immortals, I was going to say that, but that's the same as the Wrath of the Titans. I'm looking for a good movie. Scorpion King, I know he just basically went against like certain he was basically like Scorpion King to me remind me of Robin Hood. Going against the big corporation. Oh, well yeah, man. Luke Skywalker. Any hero, bro, that faces adversity, honestly, because the adversity usually is seen to be bigger, or is usually looked at as the villain, or the adversity is bigger than them, especially when the adversity first pop up. But as time goes, as they figure things out, as they problem solve, break things down, the adversity seems like they can beat it. They start to measure it up, the adversity, and they start to find ways that they can beat it to a point where they do defeat it. And yeah, I mean that's every journey, bro. That's it. David or Goliath look so motherfucking big and giant and mighty, bro, but the bigger they come, the harder they fall. Oh, hero stories. I'm sleepy, but I know I'm not gonna go to sleep. And I got this is me just going, like I said, breaking down how man, what the hell? Alright, oh, that's why. Well, this is like I said, I know when I give a certain amount of information, a certain amount of knowledge, you can hold on to the wrong thing as far as, like I said, thinking about how mighty and how much the society and put up so many different schemes where it's like, damn, bro, I got to clear my mind this much. I ain't know I had to clear my mind that much. And yeah, man, it's a tough, it's not easy to clear your mind from all this pain and trauma and shit that keep us held back with. This all gonna have to get big. Too many small words. I could have swore I clicked on a different one. Oh, there you go. You good? Oh, let's see. The known. Okay. So, at this point, the unknown would be your enemy. Because that's the ignorance they used against us. That's Goliath at that point. And even when you have certain enemies and stuff, the only reason they seem so big is because we're ignorant to their weaknesses. If we knew their weaknesses, we would be like, oh, that's all it takes to beat them. Same with like Luke Skywalker. He was like, oh, I just got to hit that button. Okay, I do it. That's all it takes to destroy the Death Star. Oh, okay. They keep the weaknesses a secret for the most part because they know the weakest link. They are their weakest link. You can't be flaunting around their weaknesses. That's why most people try to cover up their insecurities and shit like that. But call to adventure, threshold, the helper, the mentor, the helper, the different things you need. Because without that, it would seem like an impossible journey to be. The revelation, the death, the rebirth. The revelation is basically you coming from one idea of being like, I can't defeat them, to, oh, I got this certain amount of information now. That's gonna be my game plan, and I think if we stick to this game plan, we can make it work. Same with like Doctor Strange. He was like, it was a fucking 1,000,001 odds. That was another example. It was 1,000,001 odds, but that one odd is what we're gonna go with. And the reason you go with that one odd, and they didn't have a choice, but even then, it's just natural. The Murphy's Law, bro. Murphy's Law. Anything that will happen, that can fail, will fail. And for Thanos in that case, there was that one odd. That's all you need to be stacked against you. And if you're moving out of ignorance, you're gonna have more than one odd. And because we're not naturally perfect anyways. So you're gonna have that odd just being that period. Just from us, we can have a game plan and fuck up the game plan just because for any different thing, and that could just be on us, not even on the game plan. So, the odds will always weigh themselves out or play themselves out. Yeah, I thought I wanted to get into this, but that's a lot of reading, and I ain't got it right now. But I'll end with this. You know, you got that. She need the charger or something. We got everything out here. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Let's see if there's any more. Any field or endeavor, anything that. Oh, okay, fuck. I kind of wanted to read that. Oh, shit. Okay, here we go. In any field or endeavor, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Left to themselves, things always will go from bad to worse. If there are possibilities of several things going wrong, that one that will go wrong, things that go wrong, that one will go wrong, and the one that will cause the most damage. Oh, it's the one that will cause the most damage. So even then, there's like, it could be a bunch of things that go wrong. Well, honestly, all them hoes gonna happen. Most likely. Nature always sides with the hidden flaw. Because the hidden flaw is what do you call, how you get eroded or erosion. Basically, your weakness is what erodes us in a sense. I guess that's what you call. I explained it, but there's better ways to go into that. It's kind of just broad. But, yeah, like I said, your weaknesses, but that's only to make you better, because you have to be adaptable. And if you're not able to adapt, if your weaknesses are not able to adapt, if you're not able to adapt with your weaknesses, you're going to get ate alive. And like I said, nature is always here to make us the most strongest, the most resilient, the fit, what is it called? The fit, the survival of the fittest. So to figure out who's the survival of the fittest, like I said, it ain't always they. Sometimes it's just the natural universe, and It ain't gonna be easy because that's what we got to go through. Drink the bitter cup. But if, how can nature test the survival of the fittest? It gotta test your weaknesses. It's gonna test your strengths too, but then they start to realize that only make you stronger. If you keep doing upper body, yeah, your upper body gets stronger. But how do we really test this nigga? Oh, let's go to that lower body. That's how it is. That's why nature does what it does. Nature is trying to improve itself. So nature always takes out. Nature knows the weakest link. Nature know about the weakest link, and how the weakest link is ultimately itself, or can ultimately be the reflection of what it is. So nature not putting up with any weakness. Nature not dealing with that. Nature like, nah, bro, we not cultivating weak ass niggas around here. We only expect and require the best, and if you don't, if you can't do that, oh, we're gonna eat you up. We're gonna drain you, gonna throw you to the wayside, so something else can use you as fertilizer. Cause it's about the survival of the fittest. And yeah, like I said, we could look at society, we could look at we could look at the universe, but ultimately it's just a test on making us the strongest as we can be. Us being the most adaptable, being the most fit, being the most resilient, being the most strongest, getting rid of the most weaknesses as we can. That's the game. And if you don't do that, Murphy's Law will prevail. And I love Murphy's Law. I just do. Because it makes you say, oh, I can't afford to be lazy. I can't afford to ignore my weaknesses, because if I ignore those, the weaknesses is only going to be the key to my detriment. Your weaknesses is literally the door. Some people door is bigger than others. Some people door is a safe door, and their weaknesses is so strong. They'll beat your ass. Some people weaknesses, bro, is indulging in sweetness every once a month. Compared to my weakness, nigga, I'm fucking, who knows? I eat sweets every fucking day. So I'm just saying, like, for some people, weaknesses, what they consider their weakness, nigga, they'll fucking wipe up and mop with your fucking strengths. Like, their weak link will beat your strong link. And then your reinforcements, you don't have any, because your weak links they're not there to help you regather yourself when you get dazed. But that's the thing, bro. You got your weak links. If you got your weaknesses, you got your strengths to rely on. But people get overly relying on the strengths, and they keep building the strengths up, and that weakness never get built up. So when the strength need help, when I say weakness, because you're gonna always have a dominant side. That don't mean the other side's not powerful. So when I say weak, it's just weaker than your strength, which it just levels to it. So when your strength needs time to take a break and be like, hey, we got beat up or dazed or whatever, your weakness could be a foundation that you can rely on, in the sense of things that a part of you may not have been able to rely on at another time in life, because those weaknesses was playing against you. But now everything's holistic, everything's free flowing, everything's moving in harmony. So your weaknesses is really sharpening your strength. Your strength is sharpening your weaknesses. I just gotta say weaknesses to have something to actually categorize it to, because I just can't say strengths and then lesser strengths, I guess I could say, but to prove my point. For everything that seems to be going well, you have obviously overlooked something. Yeah, man, that's just the tough test you have to think about in life, bro. If you everything's just hella good for you, there's nothing wrong with that. That's why I say but being the ultimate alchemist, being the ultimate adapter, being the ultimate person that's just trying to constantly grow, bro, there's always room to improve. even when you're doing great, even when you're winning, bro, your strengths can get stronger, your weaknesses can get stronger. Even when you're at the top of the class, you can get better. That's why I talk about the pharaohs and shit. They're ignorant because they, first of all, their biggest thing was not realizing their weakest links are them. So that's something they immediately had to work on and didn't work on. But most of them think, and the reason they don't work on themselves is because they think they're in a great spot. They think they're in their pinnacle. They don't think there's any more room to grow. They don't think they need to grow. Why? Because they got everything that can anybody else can imagine. So why even imagine anything else to have? And if they do, it's probably some statue or some shit like that, some vain ass shit. But nothing really just bro, like, so they basically be having everything in their sense of their willpower. Like I said, a dog, like Bobby said, a dog heaven is to lick his own ass and have a few bones. So as a pharaoh, he what they taught is what's good and what's heavenly to them is just power and dictatorship and shit like that. But they lost sight in so many other things like family, community, bonding, and all these other different things like that. But yeah, they just get so disconnected from reality. Yeah, so even these people at the elites, they have room to grow. They just choose not to, and that's why things don't get better. But for me, for people with the Mamba energy, Goku energy, never gonna stop. Hustle continues. I mean, yeah, the hustle continues. The marathon continues. The Nipsey energy. Don't never stop. Shit don't never stop. Non-stop. This shit don't ever stop. Well, yeah, man, I'm 2:35 in. This shit gonna take forever to upload and process, and then actually my YouTube upload time been a lot lethal. Shit been uploading like an hour or two. But this little system I got to start shit, to edit shit, that should be taking a little while to convert into like the right form. But I'm out, man. Like I said, my next video might be about the different crasses in the world. I'm gonna have to look up different crasses and see if they gonna hit home. But I'm out. Deuces. Peace.